kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kutupa uwezo wa kuhimili na
Present, county secretaries, entertainment session. Before we proceed, let us have the disaster team ready. The fire is contained, the assumption being
Sasa gavana ameandika watu ni wazee, hawawezi hata kuinua pipe na kuzima moto.
So they are preparing to
Leni, upitisa pole basi poleni.
So after the audit is taken, are class A fires, which involve solid flammables and dusts, such as
Let me laud the Senate for the important role it has accorded to this subject by developing a bill on disaster risk reduction. The bill proposes the creation of a national disaster authority. We urge the National Assembly to pass this bill to enable enhancement of community-based disaster risk reduction action. KAI. Activities for reducing and managing risks can therefore provide a way for building resilience to other risks. In addition to development, disaster risk management should therefore be integrated across a number of sectors, including climate change and conflict. In the past few months, ranging from the COVID-19, flood, menace, locust invasion, accidents, fires, mudslides, not forgetting the stampede we had last year when we lost 14 pupils of Kakamega Primary School. These affected counties have struggled to deal with the disasters and reverse the negative effects due to lack of adequate and functional structures to manage disasters. This year's International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction is all about governance. You can measure good disaster risk governance in lives saved, reduce number of disaster-affected people, and reduce economic losses. COVID-19 and the climate emergency are telling us that we need clear vision, plans, and competent, empowered institutions acting on scientific evidence for the public good. This requires having national and local strategies for disaster risk reduction in place by the end of this year. As the Lake Region Economic Bloc, we are working on strategies that will ensure both prevention and effective response to disasters. Disaster risk reduction is one of our pillars of the bloc's agenda. We will be holding our governance and strategy meetings on disaster risk reduction. We at the same time encourage each county to implement the Sendai framework by strengthening their disaster management departments. The 14 counties that form the bloc have agreed to come up with a legal framework on how to respond to the disaster that affect counties. Counties also need to set up disaster management committees up to the ward level for effective response to calamities. We have established an innovation center for development of disaster response equipment. This equipment, which include fire engines and diving gears, are customized to suit the terrain of our region. The problem we have is that you will find, because of the little funding we have, some counties have not taken disaster management seriously. So you'll find that some counties even don't have proper structures. Some even don't have fire engines, and that has been a problem. I'm now happy that when COVID-19 came, most counties now have ICUs. In this area, I remember we had ICU beds here, only 4. And those 4 were now serving the entire region. I'm now happy in Siaya we have ICU beds. My neighbor here, Vihiga, have ICU beds. They didn't have that time. Here we have now increased the number from the 4 we used to have. Now we are having 20, and we expect to scale that up. So disasters also bring fortunes. As the counties step up the strategies on how to reduce and manage disasters, I must take this opportunity to acknowledge the good work that the Bomet divers have been doing to save lives. Through ill-equipped, the divers have been able to respond to distress calls from counties such as Nyamira, Narok, Kericho, Nandi, and Homa Bay, whenever disasters strike.
All the water from Zoya, all the water from River, we go and settle down there in Siaya and Busia. And when they settle there, I'm telling you, life becomes unbearable. Whenever I go to visit those victims, it is a very sad state of affairs. You can't imagine that this country, after 60 years of independence, that some people still suffer whenever floods occur. And you know, to make it worse, the waters that make floods there is not as a result of the rains from within the area. It is imported water. And so wherever I go, the saddest thing is that you get a family, they tell you, we are living in this classroom. My wife lives in the other classroom. I don't know when I will meet my wife again. Isn't it sad? That's sad enough. So that I begin asking myself that I was elected by the people of Siaya. And one of the reasons why I was elected was that people are going to enjoy life. And if people fail to enjoy life, isn't it a bad state of affairs? We have already had an act, that on disaster management. And so it is just a question of making, things to work out with the act in place. We have also established counties, at sub-county level, we have committees. But the biggest problem is just to operationalize the act because of the limited funds that are available.
disaster reduction, risk reduction management requires what we call proactive planning. And together with climate change, we now want us, the researchers, to work very hard so that they can be able to tell us in good time what actions will be taken. We do not want to go into firefighting situation whereby we react. Instead of reacting, we react to situations of disasters. And I think as an LREB, this is something very important for us. We in Homa Bay, we have already started creating and establishing an EO center, which is of course Emergency Operation Center, which I've read from your document here. You're also doing the same.